And welcome to everyone who's joining us or not joining us. It's Friday. I've got another guest or victim, whatever you want to call it. Please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Good evening. How are we doing? I'm Harry. I'm from Bluenose Beer Reviews. There you go. Tell myself back. Wow. Okay, straight into it. I'm Harry. I'm a brewer, and I do Bluenose Beer Reviews. That's my channel. It's my YouTube channel. There you go. I can tell you more in detail. But
okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. When did you start your channel then? And you said you're a brewer. When did you get into brewing? So they're two probably separate questions. But
yeah. Well, to be honest, they kind of come together really more than anything. So I actually started my YouTube channel late 2013, but really kind of pushed into it 2014 sort of time. So around that sort of time, I think I was in first year of university in 2012. And prior to joining university, I didn't drink beer at all. I just didn't touch stuff. Didn't like it. Didn't drink it. So then when I joined university, I was just drinking cider and Magners and Bulmers and all that kind of crap. And then my brothers came up because they wanted to meet me and my flatmates and stuff. And they're a little bit older than I am. They wanted to meet me and Hope was doing okay and stuff like that. So we went on a pub crawl. So we went around as you do, we're English. That's what we do. We don't do. You're not too dissimilar either. But yes, we went on a pub crawl with a couple of flatmates, and then they all kind of dropped off. But we most of the places we were drinking cider, and I didn't know the town very well. I was in Nottingham at uni, and I didn't know the town very well. And we came up to this place and went up to the bar. Oh, we only do beer. We don't just do beer, don't do cider. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be forced into having a beer. And, I could just about palate a lager at this stage, just about drink a lager. I wasn't at all a big drinker, so I just about drink a lager.
What kind of age were you, 18, 19?
I was 19 at this time. We just literally, I just wasn't interested in drinking at all. Okay. And then they got me this pint of beer. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know where we were exactly. And took one sip of it. I thought, fucking hell, that's fucking awful. I was like, it's fucking disgusting. And I really hated it. Really couldn't stand it. And my brothers were drinking it fine, absolutely fine. And I'll be honest with this. I went to the loo and took the pint with me and poured half of it down the toilet. And then came back. I was like, oh, look at this. I miraculously drank some. And then finished off. And then I was like, oh, no, sorry, I've got to leave. I'm done with this. And I thought, you know what? I know for sure, obviously, it was obviously drinking a beer. And I was like, I really need to convert myself because all my mates at the time, all my mates at university used to drink beer. And I was like, I need to drink beer. I need to learn to drink beer. I need to force it down me and enjoy it. Make sure that I enjoy it. Get past that kind of bitterness. That was always the thing for me, was like the bitterness inside of it was always so strong and it was really hard. And I later found out what bar it was that I was inside of. And it was a Brewdog bar. And it was the original Punk IPA, the 6.3% or something, or whatever it was, 6.2 or something. And that's what it was that I was drinking. I was like, right, that was particularly awful. Let's try and overcome this hurdle by drinking more of it until I like it. And that's what I did. I basically just went back. The only place then to get hold of Brewdog, and this says so much how it's changed, how whole beer industry's changed, and beer in shops has changed, that the only place you could get hold of Brewdog was a Waitrose. You couldn't buy it anywhere else at all. It just wasn't available. So went to the Waitrose, got a couple of bottles of Punk, and really kind of just forced them down. But this was higher ABV Punk than what it is nowadays. Yeah. And also it was so much more flavoursome. At least it seemed more flavoursome to me at those times. And then I thought, you know what? I want to learn more about beer. Where do I go for learning my actual subject that I'm actually studying at university? I was like, well, just go on YouTube. Just go and search stuff on YouTube. So then I searched for beers on YouTube. And then more so beer reviews is where you find as a result of that. And I found Simon, Real Ale Craft Beer. He was one of the first people I watched. Watched his reviews and thought, I like this. It's quite good. I really enjoy this. And I thought after a couple of other beers that I tried, I thought, you know what? Let's give this a go. Let's try and do some beer reviewing myself. And I had a particular interest, and I still do now, in Russia and the old Soviet Union. So I like to try a lot of Russian beers.
Okay.
And as a result, I found reviews by Stuart. So I found reviews by Stuart Pickard, Ginger Ale Trail. He'd done some Stary Melnik, some like a windmill beer or something like that, and I managed to get hold of it. And I thought, okay, well, let's try and review that. Let's try and to do lots of different reviews of beers and learn about beer that way. I look back at it, and my reviews were horrific early days. They were awful. Looking back at it, they were like I knew nothing. But then it kind of like it started like a bit of a spark. I just want to start learning and learn more and more and more. So then I decided to do some home brewing. I actually bought a homebrew kit for Christmas one time, and it was a Brooklyn beer shop, I think it was back then. We're talking Christmas 2014, and it was their Punk IPA clone. And I was asked, well, basically like, just do this and then we can all drink it. I was like, cool, fine, I'll do this. Do it on the stovetop at home, and you know the way. It's a bit different. It's interesting. It's good fun doing it, and it was okay. It wasn't a great beer, but it was drinkable at the time. And I thought after that, you know what, I really love this. I really love this kind of creativity of it. You produce something. Whereas in architecture, which was what I was studying at university, there's a possibility that you might get something that potentially will be built, but it'll be like 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line before it actually gets built and you get to see it. Whereas with beer, it's like a week. Like you physically make it and hands-on. A week later, it's ready, and then you can drink it, and you can try it, and then your friends can try it and say what they think of it and stuff. So that's how I kind of got into home brewing. And then I kept on home brewing, kept with the YouTube channel on the side as well, of course. And that kind of just pushed me more. Having a channel and meeting different people pushed me more into, actually, I want to go and do this full time. I want to do this as a job. So, yeah, we go on a couple of years. I met other people. So obviously, Stuart was actually the first person I met. I met him in 2014. We did Nottingham Beer Festival, Canberra Beer Festival. And he was the first person I actually really spoke to through YouTube. And great person to meet, because then he introduced me to so many other people. So as a result, met Simon plenty of times, met Rob as well. I met pretty much every single UK beer reviewer. As a result since, but yeah, that was kind of my start into YouTube, and then also like my early days of like home brewing. I was also kind of fortunate at the time when I was doing a placement year at university. One of my friends was working at Marston's. He was actually entered brewing the proper way. He did chemical engineering at university, and then moved into brewing straight away, because that's what you do. That's what some people do. And then he moved into that, and then I got some knowledge from him and got beers from him, and then I kind of just sort of saw what he was doing, how much he was enjoying it, and thought, you know what, I need to do this. I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. I thought I loved the idea of architecture and architectural technology, which is exactly what I was studying. But the reality of it was I didn't enjoy it. Just didn't enjoy it at all. Whereas beer, brewing, loved it. And I was fortunate enough to get my first brewing job in 2016. And then that just kind of like, as a result of getting all that kind of backing knowledge of actually producing the stuff, helped me with the channel and push the channel on for me, or push my knowledge of beer on more than anything, rather than pushing the channel on, because it's just basically me drinking, talking about beer. But it's like, it just pushed my knowledge on so much, and I loved it as a result. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more of a personality. I think with beer, because there's so many out there. I think it's about the personality, I think. more than sometimes the review.
Yeah,
So I think it is.
I think that's, you know, for sure. That's why I think recently, well, the past year, you know, obviously I did like all these, you know, video reviews and stuff, and I was playing around with editing, and I thought, nah, fuck that. Like I'm really awful with computers. I really can't stand them. I steer clear of them as much as possible. That's why I'm in the brewery and I work in the middle of nowhere on a farm. I absolutely hate computers, so I try and steer clear of editing software and playing around with them. So I was just like, got to the point a lot of times of filming these like camera reviews that I was just like, I'm not really enjoying it. And then at the turn of the year, when I just decided, well, just before last year, I watched so much of Raggy's videos, and I thought, I love this. I love the interaction he has chatting with people. I mean, we had that in live streams before when StreamYard didn't exist, and we used to use Google Hangouts and stream it live. And even before that, when we used to have Skype and have to stream Skype through a different software, and so it was really fiddly back then. And it was great, the interaction we had between ourselves, but also other people commenting and talking about stuff. And I think it's become so much easier, especially with StreamYard, just to actually just talk to people and just have a really good conversation with other people, other like-minded people who just want to, you know, possibly maybe learn about beer, or just want to talk about beer, or just have a chat, have a chill, have a relax. It's like an online pub, and I think it's done so well recently because of COVID, of course. But you know, there's still people sitting around and chatting around. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I think so. And people have discovered, say, different breweries or different beers, and want to have a talk, or want to maybe get a bit more knowledge. I might pick up the right flavors or things like that. I suppose a question I ask all people is the good points and bad points of having a social media account and creating stuff.
Good points. I don't know. There's a little bit of you know, you'll bump into loads of people and they'll just know you're that person, and it tends to be within your circle. It tends to be like, I don't go down the high street and go, oh, you're fucking Bluenose beer reviews or something like that. No, I'm like, cool. That doesn't happen. It's like you bump into people within your kind of circles, within your Instagram or within your Facebook or your YouTube or something like that. And then they might have an idea who you are, and then they'll enter immediately into a discussion about craft beer and talk endlessly. And we obviously share the love of craft beer. We talk endlessly for hours and hours and hours about craft beer, and that's what I love. That's what I was in it for, massively. It's just learning, and the whole kind of community I've got from social media has been brilliant. The amount of friends I've made as a result of it, through YouTube, you know, and in Instagram as well. Instagram more recently, to be honest, because I was never really hot on that until the past kind of like year and a half. I'm still not that hot on it. I'm pretty awful, but I just kind of like, you know, there's some really great people you meet through it. But bad things that you get through it, I think it's probably just, again, the other side of the coin. It's just like, then more people know you, and then like, again, like you can't enter like something anonymously.
Well, say you go to more beer festivals, would you get people coming up to you, or are the festivals too big in Britain for that?
And there's my internet playing up. It's every time. It'll happen quite a few times. But yeah, like Adam says, bumping into arseholes in Liverpool, constantly talking crap about craft beer. That's what I want. I want that, and I love it.
Okay, well, what would be your worst comment that you've got on your channel?
I've had plenty. There's lots. Just I some of my older reviews, I watch a lot of like arguments happening in the comments about certain beers, or like one of the most recent ones that's done quite well was I did a review of Magnum tonic wine, and there was like a fight between different people. Which is interesting to watch, and none of it's necessarily directed at me, but I don't know. You get insults almost all the time, and it's just you kind of go a little bit numb to them. I got told like last week I look like Rodney Trotter. I'm like, fine. I'm like, I don't know where. Why is it an insult or is it? Do I? Like a fucking chubby one maybe, but I don't know. You just get all sorts. Obviously, without wanting to dwell on it too much, we've had a bit of an interesting year with another channel, but yeah, it's that's probably one of the worst insults I've got. But that's about it. Yeah, Scott and Wanda saying comment wars are very weird. Yeah, especially when it's on like a video that's like 6 or 8 months old and they're just having a fight over something. You're like, I can barely remember it.
Yeah. Okay. For everyone who has commented, thank you. Sorry if I don't read out your comments. Thanks for joining. Not really much bad then. So getting more onto about you. Any bad habits you've overcome?
Oh God, I've created so many in the bad habits in the recent past. So yeah, one bad habit is as a result of doing YouTube and beer review and stuff is you end up drinking a lot more beer. So that's a bad habit to have, but it's also very nice because it's very yummy and it tastes great. And yeah, the most important person in my life. I'd say people more than anything. It's just family, just having your family around you. But always just something.
I'll push the one person on you. Sorry, you can't.
One person.
Yeah, you can't just go family.
I don't know. Okay. Oh, it's hard to say that. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I have to come back to that. It's hard to put me on the spot there. Yeah, I have to come back to that.
I'll take your parents then if that's
I think as a kind of team as they are.
Yeah,
okay.
Yin and yang. So you didn't finish college then? Were you disappointed?
No, I did finish uni. I finished it. I finished it doing something I hated. I got my degree in it, and all done. But I hated every minute of it because I knew at the time exactly what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to be in brewing and everything like that. And it basically, I finished uni on the Friday, and I already had my interview for my job, my brewing job. In like the week or a week before, I think it was the week or week before, something like that. And then I was supposed to be starting a week the Monday, but then he just said, "No, you start Wednesday." Like, cool, fine, straight into it. And God, yeah, Scott, I fucking can so relate, man. Can so relate to that. Especially the past couple of years.
Maybe you should go on a marathon or something. Like Scott should go do a marathon. He hasn't run a marathon or anything. So.
I don't want to fucking run a marathon. I don't want to run in the first place.
What was your first job like then in the brewery? Like, what was it?
First job was assistant brewer. So I went from brewing like a 25 litre brew kit up to brewing on a 1,600 litre brew kit. And I probably brewed 2 or 3 times. If I'm honest, brewed 2 or 3 times on that homebrew kit. But the main reason I went to that company was like, I've got these sales contacts, which I did from all these places in Nottingham, strong passion for home brewing and just a lot of it was not all grain brewing, but it was a lot of it was just like kind of using kits and stuff like that. And then they just said, yeah. And I'd also done a chocolate course. So I'm quite interested in cooking and gastronomy to an extent. And I'd done some Calabo chocolates, which is basically like a chocolate company, a manufacturer. And I'd done like beer truffles, but I'd used the company's beer in the chocolate. So I'd done chocolate truffles with beer. And then he tried them. He's like, come and start here. So, yeah, I was assistant brewer. And I was basically like shadowing the other assistant, or the brewer, Ed, his name was. I can't remember what he does now. He used to work at the Prince of Wales pub in Birmingham, the Prince of Wales in Moseley. So really, really good real ale and craft beer pub. So he's worked there, and he was also working at Sill Hill when I was there, Sill Hill Brewery. And I went from assistant to head brewer, basically, because my boss at the time was actually working for another company. So we were kind of just like left to brew and make the money for him to an extent. And then he would do the sales, but then we would do the manufacture and production of it.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we did delivering and whatnot. So it was basically just all sides of brewery: make the beer, wash the casks, and fill the casks. And then they're always complete fucking donkey work. Cask washing is the worst thing. Cask washing is honestly the worst job. There's one thing that sticks with me all the time is I think it was his name is Justin. Justin, I can't remember what his surname is now. Justin, but basically he is the owner of More Beer, and he said in a lecture I was watching, was at in Bristol a couple of years back, 2017. He said we kind of generally just employ ex-military people because they do a job and they do it well. And I'm like, what you mean is that job is mundane as fuck, and they will do it repetitively, and that is the truth of it. Like cask washing is just like put this on, scratch this off, put it on there, wash it out, move it onto a pallet, do that all day long, and then you move on to racking and other different parts of it. So yeah, cask washing is one of the worst parts of the job. It has to be done, and thankfully I have people around me that do that nowadays. I don't have to do it as much, but yeah, I did a lot of that. I think in my time when I was at Sill Hill, I washed about 4,000 casks, and I don't want to have to do that very much more. So yeah.
Okay, so the next question is lowest point of your life, then.
I'm still young. I've had a couple of low points. So I think one of the early ones was when I was at school. So I was about 16. Was 16, yeah, and it was GCSE results day. Basically, my school was highly selective in terms of what they wanted people to get. And I've been at the school for 9 years, and it's kind of like being in a job. You see all the people all the time. There are a lot of dickheads around you. I don't have that nowadays, but like back then it was bad. And you have a lot of dickheads around you. And then I basically didn't get. They needed like a certain score to get into the senior school, and I didn't get that. I missed it by a couple of percentage or something, and then I had to go down to my local college. So basically, I am Will from In-Betweeners. I was Will from In-Betweeners. I had to go to my local college, and the day was a low point. But after that, just seeing reality and real life, and because I've been at private school up until the age of 16, and it's not real life. Really, just isn't real life. And then I went to my local college, and I was like, I joined my class. There was a girl about 17, had 2 kids already, went into labour in the exam hall, and I'm like, this is real life, and that was like as a result the high points of it. But yeah, since then, other low points. Just working for a really awful company, which I did do. Just absolutely. Like I got into brewing because I loved it, because I really loved it, and they basically taught me to hate it. So I had that experience as well. And when you're kind of searching for jobs every single day, that was like a low point for a solid 2-3 months. And then thankfully I found somewhere. But yeah, so I'd say those are probably the 2 kind of lowest points I can really think of.
Okay, so what makes you really angry then?
People. Just can't stand them. I've also worked in hospitality for a few years. I just makes me. That's why I work with yeast, because yeast just sometimes it fucks up, and you're just like, oh well, well, you fucked up. But I'll say that jokingly. I do like chatting to people who are like-minded and stuff, but a lot of the time it's just, yeah. Also, you've seen my driving. You've listened to my driving.
Yeah, definitely.
People on the fucking road annoy me so much. Fuckwits on the road. That's like, yeah, I say that more than anything. So again, people, but fuckwits on the road. People who can't drive properly. Not saying I can drive brilliantly, but at the same time, people who are just completely unaccepting that you might be driving a van that weighs about, 4 ton. Just, yeah, people like that.
Yeah. I think we all did that.
My wonderful rants on brewing and driving. Well, Jimmy, I'm not even 30 yet. I'm 28. So it's changed for me.
Another 2 years. All that.
I work for Ramsbury Brewery. We're a 30-barrel brewery based in Wiltshire. So 30-barrel is 5,000 litres. Typically, output per week is 10 to 15,000 litres of beer. And I'm the head brewer here. Not the drayman, as some people think that.
You're the head drayman, definitely.
I'm not even head drayman, not allowed to be that.
Raggy's Chris to do that, so we'll have to go with that.
Just a drayman. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your go-to style to brew then? If you had a beer, if you had no open chance to brew anything, what would you brew?
If I could absolutely brew anything, I know that I was gonna. This is where I'd want to be brewing it well as well.
Yeah.
So it would be just a standard pale ale, like a West Coast style pale ale. That's my jam. I do love a New England IPA. At the same time, I love West Coast IPAs, but I think a West Coast style pale ale, because it's bitter yet refreshing. It's yeah. I think more so nowadays, after we've had this kind of time of everything being New England IPA, everything being fruit forward in your face and quite sweet at the same time. I think this is a milkshake IPA and it's mega sweet. And as a result, I want a West Coast IPA badly. But I just think West Coast pale ales, because it's slightly lower ABV, and it's just easy drinking. You can drink pints and pints and pints of them. A brewery that doesn't necessarily, a beer that isn't necessarily like a West Coast IPA, but is like a nice balance, I think, is something like Steady Rolling Man. It's nice and fruity from Daya. It's nice and fruity, but then it also has that nice kind of bitterness on the back end as well. So I think that does well. But yeah, I think just like a good, solid kind of West Coast pale ale, easy drinking. Maximum like 5.5%. Have a few pints of it. Fall over maybe after about 10.
Marty has a question for you.
But people who review food to chase subscribers, I know what the fuck you're getting at, you bastard. Food reviews and stuff. It opens you up to a new market. And if you're doing it to chase subscribers and views, then you're doing it to chase subscribers and views. Then that's when it becomes more that, for me, that you're doing YouTube for a business rather than like a hobby and meeting friends and meeting community. Because I think chasing subscribers and moving away from your actual self and like how you actually like to be, I just, if you want to do that, go ahead and do it. But then I just kind of see that kind of person in a slightly different light. And I'm just like, you're not being honest with yourself. And that's the way I've always liked to keep it. Like, just, I've done now and again, for me, I've done now and again, like some spirit reviews and whatnot, because I like to dabble in that sort of thing. But I would never go down the line of just doing food reviews. At the same time, I've toyed with the idea of doing it just because it's something that interests me. And I want to show things that interest me to other people. But if you're going to go down the line of just doing it to promo or just push your channel, it just seems a little bit disingenuous to me. I'd rather you be honest with yourself and honest with your channel and honest with your subscribers more than anything. But yeah, that's it. Session IPA. Yeah, I think session IPAs, they're good for, I think session IPA is a bit, sometimes that session IPA word is used as a bit of a cop-out for like a kind of partially substandard IPA. But one of my favorite beers of last year was Lumina from Siren. The first batch they did was really, really good, really lovely and fruity. And I thought, this is damn good. But yeah, I think session IPAs, even just like session IPAs in the UK is basically session IPAs is just a style that exists in the UK, because ever since the American style of IPA kind of came over and hit the UK, basically American IPAs being like 6.5 to kind of like 7.5 sort of percent. That's why session IPAs for me were kind of like born into the UK, because we always drank IPAs at a lower ABV. Even though it's not an IPA, there's Green King IPA, and people saw that as an IPA, and that was like 3.5%. There's a local brewery to me, Wadworth. They do Henry IPA. That's 3.4%, and that was seen as an IPA. It's not an IPA. This is like fruity bitter, but that's why I think we've seen the rise of the session IPA, and then also we're seeing that those session IPAs we find in supermarkets tend to be a lot more fruity than those kind of old school styles. And I do enjoy them, like from time to time, but it's hard to say when I guess
if they're fruity, if people are coming from, we say, wines, it's easier to get them over.
I definitely think so. It's easy. It's more appealing because then it's like,
or even ciders, say the fruit ciders or some of them.
Yeah,
that we'll probably try them, and it's easier to turn people over then, because they're not off with bitterness.
When I think of like a session IPA, like for the masses would know about, it's like something like Goose Island Session IPA. I could get hold of that quite easily in my old bars around Brum when I was around there, and it's I think it's called Midway IPA or something like that. It used to be called Session IPA, and that was like 4%, 4.5%, something like that, and easy drinking. Even Goose Island as well. Goose Island is a little bit stronger, I think. I can't remember the ABV, maybe 5 and a bit. But that's just like mid-range, easy drinking, not too mad. I wouldn't. It's not necessarily my go-to kind of style during the week or something, but I tend to try and drink lower ABV styles during the week. And like a session IPA would appeal if I could get one that was as as flavoursome as others. But it's one thing to know is that alcohol actually gives you flavour. People think alcohol just gives you like booze, but it actually imparts flavour on the beer as well. So yeah, there's that to consider as well. Breweries, I think. Well, yeah. I tried to highlight them as much as possible. Underrated and ignored. I think there's a lot of, just going on the other side of that question, I think there's a lot of breweries that get overrated. There's plenty of them. And it tends to be if you're in an area which doesn't have many breweries, and then like you've got this one brewery that stands out because the rest are a bit, and then you kind of like those breweries kind of just get massively overrated, and then you can kind of compare them to something like your Dayas or your Northern Monks. North to an extent, Track. North I'm funny with. I don't know. I'm a little bit funny with North beers. Some of them I find a little bit. And I've also voiced my opinions on Kernel, which is one of the most unpopular opinions to have. Is that Kernel are not that good. I just find because of the like old school original brewers. Find them.
I've seen some of them come over here, but they're way too expensive. They're €6-7 for 300.
Were they? That's the thing. That they're really, really cheap here. They're really cheap. They're like £3, $3.50. But I'm just not a fan because I think they're just like a little bit. I think they're just a little bit bitter. Thank you, Bullman. Thank you for giving me the update. I trust in you. The updates for that. My boys have scored. Happy days. 1-0 for me, my lads.
Wait, just wait. Yeah.
Yeah, I will wait.
2-1 down in a second.
But yes, other breweries that get underrated. Duration is one. I've banged on about them for ages because I think they're really, really good. They're a breath of fresh air to the UK beer scene for me because they don't necessarily brew what is the hype beer. The hype beer being something like a New England IPA or like a juicy, or like I keep saying the word juicy, but like a nice kind of juicy IPA or double IPA or triple IPA or something. They don't do that. They just go for what they want to brew. Little Earth Project did the same a couple of years back as well. Little Earth Project, another massively underrated brewery. We get Mills, which I'm sure some people have heard of. Mills is like the inform kind of hype brewery for sour beers within the UK, or like lambicky kind of style beers, really, really funky wild yeast beers. And Little Earth Project for me back like 2015, 2016 was that brewery, and then they kind of like fallen back a little bit, but they're still producing as good beer. So I think Little Earth Project has to be underrated for me. Duration, because they do a nice wide range, and that's what I like. I like to have a wide range of different styles, and they do that so well. So Duration, Unity as well. Like Unity do, like when they first started out, it was pretty much just Belgian stuff that they did. And then, so Unity based out in Southampton, Duration are up like East Anglia, probably Norfolk way. I don't know that part of the world at all. And then, Unity as well. Glasshouse has been a brewery I've been banging on about for years because they're like good pals of mine. And now they're kind of up there. I'd say Fallen Acorn don't get the love that they deserve. Really enjoy some of their beers. They're kind of old school stuff, not so much, but like they're kind of traditional stuff, not so much, but they're kind of all new modern styles are really good. Lost and Grounded, I'm just a massive fan of. I'm a fanboy, real fanboy. And then also probably say Pipelines as well. I haven't managed to get too much of their stuff recently. I'm probably missing quite a lot. There are so many breweries that I kind of see a lot of people straight go for Cloud War, for Track, for like Brew York, or for Wylam. By the River, people don't necessarily think of. But there's so many breweries. You just want to. I think more than anything, I want to encourage people to find their local brewery, see what their local brewery beers are good. Yeah, as Scott says, staggeringly good. I really need to try more from staggeringly good. I've had Mackie as well. Mackie has been really good at the stuff I have from them. Fallen Acorn, I know Tim. I did a chug with Tim at LCBF. Had a great laugh. But I've known him for a couple of years now, but never actually met, but known him online. But yeah, there's so many breweries that just fly under the radar. There's a lot in London as well. They just fly under the radar in London because they're just a London brewery.
What's the best area then? Say if I was coming to UK, would say, what's the best area to go for beers or breweries or?
The best area, if you wanted a high concentration of decent breweries in a small area, I don't know. I'd probably say Leeds is a good place. I don't know more than 2 in Leeds. Again, Manchester, I don't know more than 2 in Manchester. London's your best bet because you've got everything, is easy to get to. And also, when you go to Bermondsey, everything is so easy to get to. Also, when you're up like Hackney way, then everything's very easy to get to. But yeah, it's funny because also at the same time, I'd say Brum. Brum's a great place to go for a drink now. When I was growing up there, when I was just before I left Brum, like I went back for a couple of years. Like in 2016, I moved back for a year and then moved off again. It was still a bit of a desert back then, craft beer desert. There was just nothing. Craft beer wasn't what it is now. Like we've moved on 5 years. We've come on so much. So yeah, Brum's great. You've got Glass House, all of the Sturchley area. You've got Glass House, you've got Attic, you've actually got Birmingham Brewing Company. I think there's a new one opening up as well. I don't know exactly what the brewery name is, but then you've got decent bars as well in that area. Then you go into town. There's actually an Irish-owned brewery called Samar Brewery, and I can't remember his name now. Is it Mark Keeley? Or was it Chris Keeley? I've got two friends called Chris Keeley and another one called Mark Keeley, so I always get mixed up. But like an Irish brewery based in the centre of town, Samar Brewery, and they're a new one. So Brum's quick becoming like a decent place for, bars and stuff and tap rooms. There's also Burning Soul. There's loads of places. But yeah, there's so many places to go for underrated ales. Scott going off to Bristol. So you're looking at. I'll send you a couple of places, Scott. There's Left-Handed Giant, of course. Go to the tap room and the brewery. Arbor, I haven't actually been to. I'm an Arbor fanboy, but we didn't go because the Arbor tap room apparently is like a porter cabin on an industrial estate, which is very much like the place I spend most of my life. And then there's Lost and Grounded. I'd love to go there. There's it's called like Tapestry Brewery. There's Fierce and Noble. Obviously, I'm not too far from Bristol, so I know a lot of these places. If you're going bar-wise, you want to go to Sydney and Eden, or Bottles and Books a little bit further up, as James knows, as we met actually in Sydney and Eden a couple of months back. And then there's so many places, Scott, to go in Bristol. Loads of places. It's a really good drinking city. Is old Bristol. Always good for drum and bass as well.
Okay, next question. We'll move on to the more personal question again.
Do I have any tattoos? No. No, I'll probably be disowned by my parents if I ever got one. Earliest childhood memory. Oh God, it's a good question to ask after a couple of beers. But well, it's only 2 beers. First childhood memory. God, a lot of them have just evaporated from my mind.
Well, maybe you should drink so much then.
Well, possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if it has to be. Well, one thing that sticks in my mind is when I fucking fell down the stairs, age 2. I remember that, the pain felt after it, after I sprained both ankles. But yeah, I think it just in terms of like fun memories, I wouldn't say they're not necessarily the earliest childhood memories, but like the fun early kind of memories would be the times when we were in Ireland. We used to go to Ireland all the time. So obviously my granny and all that side of the family are all from the west of Ireland, we're all from Sligo. Or County Sligo, Mayo, Sligo, kind of border. So all the times up at Enniscrone and Enniscrone Beach, jumping off the pier and stuff. So they're always good fun times back then. Very first crush though. Don't know. It's hard to think of actually.
Well, we'll go celebrity. First celebrity. You might have
it would be a celebrity because and also my thing. Anyone who knows me well knows I'm awful at naming celebrities. Actually knowing any. I'd probably say what's the name from Friends is because my sister always used to Jennifer Aniston because my sister always used to watch like Friends. My sister's like considerably older than me as well, and she
considerably older.
She is 16 years older than me.
Okay,
considerably.
Yeah. Okay. So people saying hello to each other. Sorry if I'm not reading out these comments. Okay. I asked something else to and we'll put this. Brad or log 1.
Sorry, my internet again. Countryside internet. It's weirdly worse than Irish internet.
Yeah. Well, you don't exactly live in a country. You live in a village.
I live in a village, and
there you go.
It's still pretty bad.
Better than my crappy satellite broadband that always breaks down.
Yeah.
As all that message come up. Yeah. Good. So all of them might be a bit long. You read it?
So yeah. So what do I like to do in my spare time? Reviewing beer. So in my non-spare time, I'm brewing beer. In my spare time, I'm reviewing beer or talking about it. My life is beer, basically, which is a great way. It's also a very bad thing because beer is constantly on the mind. But then you learn to kind of respect it and learn to know what you're doing to an extent. I think I've covered that next one. I am now. I've been in relationships for the past 7 years and just I'm loving a bit of time on my own. So yeah, best worst date. Yeah, yeah. I don't know whether we necessarily need to go into that conversation, okay. but yeah, it was good. It was good. But yeah, it was basically like she was coming up from London. I was in Brum at the time. She's coming up from London, and I basically booked a nice restaurant because I'm massive, like I say, I'm massively into my food and talking about decent Michelin-starred food. And whereas I'm an awful cook, I'm terrible. I'm like, how they say about chefs is they cook great food all day, then they go home and eat like fucking baked beans on toast or something like that. To an extent, I'm like that with beer. Brew cracking beer at work and then come home and sometimes drink some awful stuff. But then I kind of just do cook rubbish. I have zero interest in cooking, but a lot of interest in actually eating it and enjoying it. So we went off to a really nice restaurant, and it was just the conversation was just flowing. And this person I chatted to a couple of times before online and stuff, and we hadn't actually met in person properly. But it was just this one night talking, and then she looks at the time. Shit, it's 11 o'clock. Missed my train, and then you can guess what happened from there. So that's all. That's all I say. But yeah, and what would I change my name to?
Yeah.
God. So one of the things that used to happen to me in my old workplace was. Obviously my name's Harry, so people would be like, Harry Potter always just happened all the way through my, early, from age 7 onwards, it was something Harry Potter. And then someone, it was my manager at the time, Melvin, he goes, you're a brewer, Harry. I'm like, for fuck's sake. This is just not going to stand. It just went on and on and on and on like that. So, you're a brewer, Harry. So, yeah, anything like now, I'm fine with it. Unfortunately, I share the name with a shit footballer known as both Harry Kane and Harry Maguire. He scored a screamer the other night. You see those goals every single week in the Championship. It was just a long range shot, which happened to go in. So yeah, and also some twat who lives out in America as well. So yeah. There's that. I don't know what I changed my name to. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't think of anything. Am I religious? No. I can't stand the fucking thing. So my granny was devout Catholic, naturally Irish, South. And then my granddad, his parents were from the North. And as a result, he was Protestant. So that their wedding happened, and then my mum got she was then had to do this was the 50s when my mum was growing up, and then went to school and she became a Catholic teacher, but then basically she just hated it, just hated the whole thing behind religion. With religion and Catholicism, and her experience within I can't remember the word for nunneries, but within nunnery, and her whole experience of that was like, I never want to teach my kids to have to follow a religion or anything like that. So, and I've never taken any interest in following anything up afterwards. I've done choir singing and stuff like that, and I'd done that for a little bit of money here or there, up to the age of about 13, and then for various reasons, I couldn't sing quite as well as I could. My voice may have changed slightly. So yeah, and then I haven't been interested in religion at all. Do I believe in ghosts? I don't know. I've always been interested in watching like Most Haunted and stuff like that. That's always been fascinating. Watching Derek Cora get fucking going mad from his friend Sam, his medium or whatever it was. I don't know. I think there's a possibility there's something out there. Whether it's ghosts, well, probably not ghosts, but whether it's something else, I don't know. I'm sure there is, and that's kind of leading on to the do I believe in aliens? I'm sure there is some life somewhere else. There has to be somewhere else, because we haven't travelled. We haven't travelled enough.
Right here will be more.
Are there any aliens local to us?
Yes. Yeah. Did they build the pyramids? Have they give us all our technology? All that kind of conspiracy.
Well, I live very close to Stonehenge, and also I think people don't know quite as much about as Avebury, and Avebury is like a 5-minute drive away from me. And you look at that, and when that was built, if it wasn't built, which I think it could have been built on slavery and people moving these massive stones and whatnot from one position to another. But there must have been something going on there, unless they're all huffing gas constantly, which happened. Well, that's the whole reason behind Delphi and why the oracle was based in Delphi in ancient Greece, because she was like sniffing the fucking gases that came out of the earth from volcanic areas. And I can't remember what the gas is that they're smelling, that basically turned them delirious and whatnot. But Derek Acora was a charlatan, but he was hilarious. He was hilarious but useless. Oh, a national treasure, some would say as well. But yeah, what's my worst experience at a pub? I actually spoke about this earlier, and it wasn't necessarily in a pub. This was something I said to Tim, Fallen Acorn Tim, because he was saying something on Facebook about how much he gets wound up about pubs saying their opening times and then going like, "Oh no, we're going to close early." Really, really winds me up. I had an experience Christmas 2019. I was driving up from here, driving up to Brum. One of my friend's bars, he said it was going to be open. Cool. I'll come up to you because no one else was open. No problem. I'll be open. It'll be open. He said he'll be open until 11 o'clock. I thought, of course, you don't want to stay until past like midnight, because then, you know, you got a family and whatnot. You want to spend time with your family. So I went up there. I leave work here about 6 o'clock. Well, I left here about 6 o'clock, knowing full well I'm going to experience traffic all the way up the M5. I'll probably get into Brum for about 9 o'clock. And I'll see a message halfway up, just ping up on my phone and saying, "Oh, we're closing early. We're closing at 10. I was like, okay, I'm meeting with friends at this point as well. I'm going to be with some friends. We're going to go have a few drinks there and then make our way home. And then keep driving, park up, meet my mates, go up to the bar, fucking closed. Look out on Facebook. He's closed the bar early because there wasn't enough trade. I'm like, we were about to spend 200-300 quid in the bar on sharers and bombers. And that was one of the worst experiences I had. He doesn't know who he is, but I've been back to that bar once since. And it was like a regular place I'd go every single week. I'd go there. So that was one of my worst experiences in Brum. Paul's actually been to that bar, but it's not that bar anymore. Mr. P.A. Brew News. It was a bar where we met Peaky Blinder-like people, but that bar's since gone.
Oh.
Yeah. Tim is a good lad. He is a good lad. He's good at chugging. Very good at chugging, which is something I'm dangerous for.
I suppose what Irish breweries do you get over in the UK then?
What are the what? Sorry, did we get in the UK?
Irish breweries are
Irish breweries.
Years are getting over to the UK.
So Whiplash, we get a fair bit of. We used to get white hag a lot more than what we do. Is it Kinniga?
Kinniger,
Kinniger, yeah. Now and again, Kinniger come over. And that's pretty much about it. There's nothing really gets exported to UK, which is why I want to do white hag so badly, because white hag's like 30-minute drive from the family house, which is in the middle of nowhere, because white hag's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. But I'd love to go over there and try some of their beers, because I remember having white hag 2013, 2014 when I was with Stuart Pickard and Andrew Pickard, his brother. Went over to Andrew's house and we had a bottle share there, and drank a lot of beer. I think it was my first proper bottle share like that, but all in front of camera all the time. And it was great fun. 3 of us sitting side by side, just drinking through all these beers. And white hag, we had 2 or 3 white hag, because I think Andrew had just got back from Ireland and they'd driven over, got loads of beers, and then come back and brought them all back. And yeah, that's probably like the one time I had loads of them. I can't say I've had too much more, other than when I've been over there. Yeah, Smithwick's, and we would stay. Yeah, we'd stay in the Sleeve Russell Hotel. I'm sure you might know it. The Sleeve Russell. We'd always stay in there. It's up near the we got family up in Ballyconnell, and that's where we would be. So the family now in Ireland's in Drogheda, and then Ballyconnell, and then there's no one left in Sligo anymore.
Drogheda again.
What's that? Drogheda.
Drogheda again, please.
Drogheda. It's the best non-Irish pronunciation of it, with a bit of touch of Welsh in it. Yeah. Thoughts on public? I've got one. I'm just waiting for it to be plumbed in. It's plumbed in, water in, but the electrics on it aren't done yet. That's going to take a bit of time. I'm just thinking, thank God I didn't pronounce it Drogheda, like some people do. But yeah, so I'm waiting to get my electrics done in, because my box is in there, and I need to get a circuit done down the back behind the TVs, and behind the cupboard, and then to outside. So I'm waiting for that to get done. But yeah, it costs a lot more than you expect it to. So yeah, it's taking some time.
Yeah,
but a big lover. I wish I could have a bigger one than what I do, because mine's like 6x8, and that's all I can really fit in my garden with it kind of looking proportionately good. But if I could put in my old house, I had a bigger garden. I could have easily put like a 12x8, and that's what I was planning. And then you can get a pool table in there, like a decent bar and stuff like that. I do love them. It's got to be done.
Okay. Yep. More questions.
Last time I was rejected, probably 2014. That's it. 2014. Last time I was rejected. Rejected at the bar though. That happens regularly. Show your ID. I'm 28. Please serve me.
You're lucky.
ID. Still all the time. First car is a car I've actually still. I've got we've got a car which is a pool car in the family, which I use because my car gets fucked up so much. So my first car is VW Polo, 2010, and it's when I learned to drive in 2011. When I learned to drive, so I've had it from new, and it has got 102, 104, something like that on it now. But because I live in the countryside and the roads are all wank, it gets, and also I've had many barrels in the back of it, and it gets treated really harshly. I've had to have so many repair jobs done on it recently. So I've been using the Merc a lot of the time. Is my shed 12k? No. No. My shed's cost me about $2,000. All the works in the back garden, because I've done decking and different levels and stuff. I was quoted $7,000. including the shed when they first said to do it. But then I've done a lot of the work myself, and it's cost me about 4 or 5. So yeah, I mean the fucking plumbing alone was one of the worst things that's paid for, and the plumbing, because the guy does it in copper, it's proper good job. But copper pipe everywhere, that was 600 quid for that.
Yeah, well, that would have gone up. I'd say that could be double that now. Copper is just shallow.
Yeah. That was, so I've got a tap here, so we had to come off the tap, go round the kitchen, through the cooker, through the wall, down the back there, and then drop out the wall, underneath, drop down to ground level and pop back up, do a tap. And then I had a pipe which I'd already built in, and he had to connect to that and then put it into the shed and put a blank and put a valve on it. So he'd done a really, really, really good job on it. And it's copper fixings to the wall, really nice. But then he was like 630 quid. I was like, fucking hell, I thought it only cost about 200 quid. But yeah, 600 quid. I was like, fine, good job. You did a good job, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, the electrics, I don't know what that's going to cost, because I'm judging it off what the plumbing costs, about 600 quid. I'm trying to save up that sort of money for the electrics to be that sort of amount of money. But it really shouldn't be, because it's only like 4 meters rather than almost fucking 13. Yeah. Also, mobile phone, I missed that one. First mobile phone was, my current mobile phone is a Huawei P30 Pro, which works. It's 2 years old. My first mobile phone was a hand-me-down Motorola Triband, which was great because I was only operating it in one country, which was the UK, of course. But it worked in America, Europe, and UK, or whatever a Triband meant. And then also pet peeves. I am the most relaxed person in the world. I can't say I have any. I am relaxed apart from when it comes to driving. Driving, I'm not fucking relaxed. I'm bad. I just hate everyone. Because there's just zero, as I said this before, there's zero understanding in terms of braking distance, because you're in something that's fucking heavy. Your brakes being fucked because you're overloaded all the time. There's just and not wanting to drive. I've got a brand new Range Rover. It's a 4x4. I don't want to drive on that grass verge because I might sink. I'm like, I will fucking sink. I will sink. And it's when you deliver to festivals and stuff and you are driving on grass, I'm like, oh, it's always so dodgy. Like, as soon as you go away from like that track, you're like, I'm gonna sink. Especially when it's been raining.
Have you crashed?
Yeah. I haven't crashed. I fucked the van once. I fucked in my actual car, I have crashed. But it wasn't actually my fault. Someone crashed into me. Discovery versus Polo. Discovery wins. I was in Milton Keynes on a roundabout. I was in lane 3 of 4, and Disco was in lane 2 of 4, and he decided, fuck that, I'm going to go into lane. Anyway, it was proven in my favour because he fucking drove into me, and my wheel alignment went, and I had to drive all the way back to Brum because I did have cover, but I was like, I'm not going to go back with cover. I'm not going to get RAC to pick me up. I just drove back the odd 100 and whatever miles it was back to Brum, with my steering constantly wanting to go to the left. So I was just driving like that, and then took it back and got it defucked. It took about 2 or 3 weeks, but I did kill the work van once, and that was because I was following my sat nav. I didn't know the area. This road that was a road turned into not being a road, turned into more of a farm track. I grounded it, hit the sump pump, killed it, and yeah, I wasn't very popular. So
you survived. That's the main part.
I survived. Yeah, it was fine. I just hit the ground really fucking hard.
I think you've answered most of these questions, but we'll go over them anyhow.
My nickname at school was Hasmeister Boyer, which is what my brother called me. Favorite subject would always be DT or D&T or CDT. I did ResMat, resistant materials. I was always really good. I'm always really good with my hands, woodwork and stuff like that. I used to love woodwork, even metalwork as well. It was one of the things I built was a lazy Susan, but a tiered lazy Susan, and overcoming the problems with that. It had a limestone base. So I was using wood, was basically mainly metal. So I was using limestone. Drilling into limestone is so fucking dodgy as well. I've done that quite a few times since doing tiling jobs. But drilling into limestone and then have a central pole and then some acrylic and some metal bits and stuff. And polishing the metal constantly, yeah. So I loved it. Loved doing D&T, and also just woodwork or metalwork was great. But that's the one thing I'd love to learn how to weld as a result, and be able to do more metalwork than. I've done nothing. I'm just doing a lot of woodwork at the moment, or putting composite decking down. That's what I've been doing a lot of recently. But yeah, teachers inspired me. There was one person. I had a couple of really good teachers at school, and I'd say not necessarily in terms of what I learned from them, but maybe in terms of really appreciating the way that they taught kids. So I'm dyslexic, and my whole class was dyslexic or had similar. One or two chaps with dyscalculia, a couple of lads with ADHD, and ADHD kids would fuck up the classroom and make it really difficult to learn. But yeah, so I always struggled to learn if it was written down or something, which is typically what most things are done, written down. You learn from reading something. And this teacher, Mr. Garner was his name, he would basically take us out. So we were doing physics, for example. And I think he taught me 1 year, taught me physics, another year taught me just general science or something. So when it was physics, he would be like, right, I'm going to take you all outside. And and he would show us physically the forces, and it would be the forces and let you learn physically. And then as a result, if you're doing it, you would then kind of learn it. Straight away. I'm sort of person that as soon as I do something, I learn it first time, straight up, and know how to do it. But so he was a brilliant teacher in that way. But other than that, my DT teachers were so good in terms of they would just show you how to use machinery, and then I'd learn it straight away and know how to do it. And also the art teachers and stuff. But I'd probably say Mr. Garner is probably the standout for me. There's another one actually is probably Mr. Wilshire. I hated English, being obviously being dyslexic, but he was a good teacher as well, because he used to do all these kind of word games and stuff, and he would be he was he's a really good teacher. Just stands out. He actually taught Richard Hammond as well. Went to my school a couple of years before me. Didn't learn to race there. He's good at crashing though. But yeah, greatest strength. Oh God, I don't know. Question. I don't know. I'm never one to big myself up, so it's hard to say my greatest strength on everything. Great strength in being fucking chill as fuck.
Now, come on, what's your greatest strength? You're in an interview. What is your greatest strength?
I'd probably say problem solving. That's just your determination and problem solving. It's like anything kind of engineering wise, where I'm kind of pushed down a channel. You try and work this out. If it comes to something like if it comes to anything kind of engineering side, if it comes to trying to fix any kind of like a pump or any form of equipment, I can kind of put my hands on it and work out to an extent what's wrong with it and kind of fix it. So I'd say that, apart from vans. But yeah, I'm very good at fucking them up. Greatest weakness would be fucking up vans. But yeah, so useless talent. Beer reviewing. Useless talent.
Yeah, you must have
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I think I don't use it enough. I'd probably say golf. I was always quite good at. I was very good at golf, and I haven't tried myself at golf for years. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a talent though. I don't know. I don't know. Very much the thing I would. Oh, yeah, useless. I'm fucking everything. I don't know. Yeah, I can't say I'd fairly answer that.
Talking to a camera on YouTube. We'll put that down then.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. Talk to camera to no one a lot of the time.
Okay, you've answered some of these, but yeah. Sorry about these.
Yeah, dream job is basically what I do. But I mean, ultimately having my own brewery would be the thing, or tap room, or if I was say bar or something like that. So yeah, ultimately having my own brewery and having the complete freedom to brew what you want, and brew what you want to brew. Really, lie that I told. God, everyone tells lies every day, don't they?
Yeah.
You'll be honest. You know, everyone tells a lie every day. Yeah, it's mainly just chatting shit to my colleagues and just lying about, I didn't do that, because we troll each other all the time. Like we've got a thing now. We don't overstep the mark, but there's been a thing like we like to put shit in other people's bags and stuff. But recently there's been APs. We've got these stickers and stuff. So these fragile stickers. So we're just been like hiding them in different parts of people's. Like one of my colleagues has a helmet. He rides his bike to work, motorbike to work. So we were putting like shit in his gloves, and not actual shit, putting like freaking paper in his gloves and stuff, and then putting stickers all inside of his helmet, and then putting his gloves inside of his helmet, and knowing full well he was going to come back to work later than we were finishing. And then he was like, "Who the fuck was that?" And then someone else takes the blame, naturally, because I'm just innocent. So yeah, lies like that. That's probably what I do. I'm innocent, completely innocent. Yeah.
Until he watches this YouTube video,
he won't. No, he's a massive TikTok person. He will not watch YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. Most embarrassing moment.
Oh, there's been many. But then the thing is, you just got to live it up. There's got to be falling over inside of a packed pub. There's a good one. Yeah, falling over inside a packed pub. I think one of the worst things was I can't say that one actually. No, that was a bad one. No, I actually genuinely can't say that. Getting my mate into a lot of trouble. Fuck him. He'll be in. He could lose his job.
He won't watch this.
He will lose his job. No.
No one will watch this. It's only YouTube.
Oh no! I'm just not going to say it. It was same workplace. It was middle of the Euros 28. Was it Euros? It was World Cup 2018. I was working at my old place, and we'd been for a couple of beers, and it used to happen like So when my old company that I used to work for before, it was like you wouldn't even think about having a beer at all. And then when I moved to hospitality, it was like just before you go into work, someone's been doing like a day shift. Do you want to come for a pint? I'm like, no, not really. I've got to do like a 7-hour shift now, which wasn't a long one, but it was like I've got to do a 7-hour shift, got to do evening shift. Just come for a pint. I'll sign you up. I'm like, fine. And then that one pint would turn into like 5, and then you go to work. And then yes, you go to work, and then I think it was some England match. I think England were playing Sweden. I think it was. So it was like the quarterfinal or something of the World Cup, or maybe set. It must have been a quarterfinal, wasn't it? And then I went to go and start my brew. Went to go and start my brew day. 5 pints deep, as you do, as I did back then. And I just missed my step because we had like a little bit of a lip getting out of the.
and his internet has gone, I think. Yeah. Hopefully he'll rejoin us in a second. Harry's brilliant internet going there. Thanks to everyone who commented. Sorry if I missed your comments. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. So we had a little bit of a leak because it's like this little brick wall, and I just missed my step and fucking properly stacked it in front of about 200 people. I was like, I'm fine. I put my hands up, and then my manager goes, "You don't need to put your hands up. You just need to fucking stand up." I'm like, all right then. And then a couple of weeks later, he got done because he's drinking on a job. So yeah, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, last thing you googled.
What would it be? It would be probably this beer. What was the? Let's go on my search history. Should we do it? live stream my search history. Actually, the last thing I googled was David Prutton, who's an absolute wanker. And I said about that on my live stream just then as well. So last thing I googled was David Prutton and what teams did he play for? When did he play for Nottingham Forest? I can't stand him. So yeah, that was the last thing I googled.
Okay, interesting.
Don't go to university. Don't waste your money at university. No, to be honest, no, I wouldn't say. I think it would be try not to fuck up quite as much because I've been very good at that. But then I know if I've said that, I would still fuck up because that's what you learn from. Because there's been plenty of fuck ups. There's been like I fucked up doing my GCSEs. My A levels were okay; they weren't brilliant, but I missed out on my course by a little bit. I had to do it the next year. And I fucked up my degree, but got that good in the end. And then, job wise, since then has been good. But I just say it's a song that we sing at Blues, and it's keep right on to the end of the road. And I think it lives strong because you fuck up all the time. You have some great times, you have some bad times. As long as you've got some good mates around you as well, you're fine. But I say keep right on is a good message, and it's a great song as well. So yeah, keep right on.
Okay, next most weirdest thing.
The most weirdest thing I've done. Okay, easily Bollywood dancing. So I hate dancing, but my ex, she was Indian, and I was out in Hong Kong with her with a family, and she said we're going to go and do a Bollywood dancing night. I was like, I fucking hate dancing, especially when you've got like a mirrored walls and it's going to be in like a dance studio sort of thing. She was massive into dancing and stuff. And she was like, I want to take you Bollywood dancing because we had to get prepared for some wedding we were going to. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. I was just like, fine. And I just hated it. I was constantly looking up to that day, thinking, I'm going to be going dancing that day. I'm going to go dancing. I'm just like, I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it gets cancelled. We'll get the bus there, meet the people. I was the one bloke in the room. Actually, no, there was one other chap. There, and he was new. But everyone else had been there who knew my ex and stuff, who were friends with her and stuff. And I was like, for fuck's sake. And I was the one Guilo, and it was a white guy. So Guilo means white person in the room, and that's like this was obviously in Hong Kong as well. I was like one white guy, so I'm going to stand out like a sore thumb. And then I was just like, thankfully I had a bit of Dutch courage beforehand. I had a couple of beers. We went to Little Creatures in the other side in it wasn't Aberdeen, it was Kennedy Town. We had a couple of beers in Little Creatures there beforehand, and then I was like, oh, you know what, I'm fine, I'm good to go. And then we just did Bollywood dancing for an hour, and I was so out of my comfort zone, but then it flew by at the same time because I was just kind of like, I'm fucking up at this, doing all these moves. And they taught you a whole like dance procedure, like a whole kind of thing. And I was amazed with how quickly I picked it up. I was just like picked up straight away. This is what you do. This is what you do. Probably looked awful. I'm sure I did. But it was so far out of my comfort zone, something to do, and weird as well, because I would never do that. I would never want to do it again. Yeah, I did it. So yeah, beers that I used to love, but now think they're terrible or bland.
Punk IPA.
Well, Punk IPA is one, but that beer's changed so much. It's not the beer it was. I think if it's a beer that was that and then is still the same beer, has to be Sam Smith's chocolate stout, the organic chocolate stout. That was like, for me, one of the best beers. And I remember early days of YouTube, I think Rob was doing a video, Simon was on it, Adam's Craft Beer channel, Master of Hoppets. We're talking quite a few years ago. It's 2014 sort of time, and Rob invited me on, and all these guys were talking about their beers, and they were so much more ahead of me in terms of their knowledge of beers at that time. And I was like, yeah, just had Sam Smith's like chocolate stout. I was like, so good, it's so yummy, it tastes like a chocolate milkshake. And that says everything for what that beer was back then compared to how beer is now as well. So yeah, that was my really good kind of go-to beer back then. But now I tried it a couple of weeks back when we were at LCBF, when we were just having a couple of beers beforehand, and it's so rubbish. It's so rubbish. I think. But yeah, going further, because palate has changed. I think. Yeah, well, okay. Palate changed more. The breweries changed the beer. So yeah, Punk IPA. I think Punk IPA is a fair one though, because
Brewdog in general. I think.
Yeah, Brewdog. Yeah, as a whole, I think their kind of dark beers are still pretty good. But yeah, Brewdog, 4Pure. Really used to enjoy their. Well, I tell you what, Beavertown really loved neck oil. They killed that beer.
Yeah,
they absolutely killed that beer. That was so good. It was so juicy and easy drinking. The Brummy Keeper's been good. Is Sarkic on loan from Wolves? I'll have to watch it back later. But yeah, there's What would your friends describe? Cunt, being one of them. Lovable cunt. It's 2 words.
no.
No, I think most of my friends would say he's a cunt, because like that's a word we use to describe one another. He's fucking cunt. Danny Kane, cunt. Danny Kane's also a famous character I've created. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, generally cunt would be one of them.
Okay,
lovable cunt. Yeah, I don't know, like a genuine. I don't know. That's maybe me describing myself more than
genuine. So
you're a fucking genuine cunt. There you go. 3 words. 4 words. You're a genuine cunt. You're a right cunt. A lovable cunt.
I'll accept it then.
If I could change anything about myself, I wish I didn't love beer quite as much. I'm glad I love it, but I wish beer. Yeah, no, that's not it. That's wishing beer rather than about myself. I wish I was a bit more frugal with money. I'm fucking terrible with it. I'm all.
How much do you spend a month in beer then?
Oh yeah, I spend way too much. I spend way too much on beer. I've tried to be a bit more frugal about.
300, 400?
Easy 300. Easily 300. Past couple of months, I've tried to drop it down. I've been like shopping around for bargains left, right, and centre, or just getting stuff for sharers. But it's because more recently going to meet friends and stuff and going having piss ups in different places. That's why I've spent a lot of money. So like London was particularly bad. We were at a beer festival for like a lot of it, but then we're going out afterwards and stuff. This weekend, like being in London, I just went a bit mad. Like I just, it was out all day with Hugh, had a few beers. You know, I went and obviously bought some beers in the week, and then had a few beers in London, and then I went out to a gig. Had to get a hotel, went out to a gig, and then £13 for a double vodka Red Bull. I'm like, that's when you know you're in London. £13 for a double vodka Red Bull, and so I just haven't looked at my bank account since, because I know it's going to be pretty awful to look at. So yeah, more frugal with money would definitely be a thing. What motivates me to work hard is the fact, basically, the potential of earning more money. The potential of earning more money, so I can feel less skin all the time. But it's also kind of working hard, and then you feel good as a result of it, because you've worked hard on a real good graft. You've done a real good job, plenty of jobs that day, and then you look at the next day. I don't have quite as much to do today, but then 9 times out of 10 you'll be given shit tons more jobs to do anyway. But yeah, just working hard, supporting your colleagues. Everyone's short-staffed in every industry at the moment, and in the UK and everywhere, and a lot of people are blaming COVID, but I think in the UK it's more down to a lot of other things, mainly Brexit, and the lack of staff everywhere. So it's for me nowadays, it's just really kind of working hard, showing your colleagues this is what you can do, this is what you can. You should be working this hard. You should be grafting. You should be fucking blood, sweat, and tears into something, because then we can make everything better. What makes me laugh the most? I have such a dark sense of humor. So yeah, really dark humor. Very dark humor.
What do you watch then? Like, say, would YouTube or Netflix and all them kind of?
So on YouTube, I tend to watch. Well, a lot of my TV is YouTube. I don't really watch normal TV. I do now and again. Reality, I can't stand. So documentaries and stuff, I do enjoy watching. If it's on TV, so National Geographic, I have. So I watch a lot of that. It tends to be doing with like building programs or construction programs or scrapping and stuff like that, scrap metal and stuff like that. That was a big interest of mine. So there's recycling, stuff like that. And then I'd say on YouTube, it's a lot of travel stuff I watch. So I watch Kurt Kaz, who's a South African chap who basically explores. At the moment, he's going around South America and exploring South America, and he's fluent in Spanish. And I think he speaks a fair bit of Portuguese as well. So he does really well kind of going around these different countries and talking to people, talking to locals. That was one of the hilarious things of the weekend, was when Hugh's from Yorkshire, and he was just speaking to random Londoners on the tube, and it was hilarious because they looked so shocked because someone was speaking to them. And I just love that kind of interaction. So I watched that, Bold and Bankrupt as well. And a couple of just like educational channels on YouTube, aside from actual beer reviews. I can't say I watch too many beer reviews, because what I'd rather do is get the beer and then watch a couple of reviews about that beer afterwards and try and see if people had that same sort of flavor pickup or something. But that's why I kind of really love doing the live videos, because then, say if Adam and I are drinking the same beer at the same time, then we can talk about that beer at the same time. But other things, I'm really into like real life kind of movies and stuff, or TV shows based on real life. I watched why it's somewhat real life. I watched Outlaw King last night, which is based on Robert the Bruce and one of the Wallaces. So I watched that, but obviously it's dramatization of it, but it was relatively true. So yeah, enjoyed that.
What's the music you listen to?
Techno, drum and bass, anything without voices generally. But that said, I do listen to a fair bit of like rock and stuff, or like kind of like hardcore punk and stuff like that. But yeah, typically and also maybe like a bit of like 90s hip hop, but typically like my go-to is like techno, mind-numbingly, hard. That's what I went. The gig I went to the other night was Jeff Mills, Detroit, techno, US techno, and it was brilliant. I'm gonna go and see DJ Rush in a couple of weeks' time in Liverpool, and then again gonna go and see Ben Sims and Regis. But techno, I just absolutely love techno. Drum and bass was the first kind of style I loved, but like techno became massive after that for me. But yeah, what do I do? Wash the dishes, mow the lawn, easy. Mow the lawn. All the rest are boring. Clean the bathrooms, one of the worst. If you could hire someone to help you with cleaning, cooking on the yard, cooking. Guess what? Do the cooking every night. It'd be brilliant. I easily do the cleaning because it's easy. It's mundane, but I've got a dishwasher for that. Just need someone to do the cooking for me. Anyone want to come and move in? I just give you beer, lots of it. Stranded on desert island. Probably be one of my mates, rather than an actual celebrity or anyone like that. One of my mates, Ryan. He's just a dangerous human to know, because we can so easily get each other. Like we have a great laugh with each other. We're really good mates, and we've worked together. But he's just, we can get into a lot of trouble, and we have done with each other in the past. So, like, he's a real good friend. I'm actually, in fact, his best man at his wedding. So, he'd be the mate to take along with me. Because we can just chat shit. We can talk for hours about stuff. 3 items on take on that desert island. One would be endless supply of all the best beers in the world. The other one would be maybe some G&T. So 2, alcohol, and then third one would be food. So sorted. Love a good G&T. Love a good G&T.
Okay, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. What would I do all day?
Money is no object.
So there's a place I particularly love around here, and I said to them, if I had the money, which I definitely don't, if I had the money, I'd buy it. And basically, it's a big barn right on the top of a hill, and they use it for functions, weddings, and things like that. But it's right beside Salisbury Plain, so you can watch all the military. They do the live firing. I hear it quite a lot in the winter here. You can hear a lot of the bombing raids and stuff, and artillery fire, and because there's a lot of American Air Force bases around here, and when they're dropping the J-Rams, it's amazing. But you are kept up late at night because it's just constant bang bang. But it just fascinates me. Listen to that. And when you're up at Salisbury Plain, you get to watch it. At this place, you get to watch it all. So I would happily just have it's a big old barn, but it's all just all glass. I would happily just have a couple of beers beside a fire and just watch that. But obviously, you can't do that all day. So I would just be brewing, and giving away to people, because that's the weird thing. I genuinely love the process as well as the product. The process, especially where I am, is because you're producing such a large quantity. 5,000 liters per brew. It's not a large quantity compared to big macro breweries, but it's a big kit, and it's
a regional brewery. It's a large amount.
Yeah. It's I wouldn't even class this as a regional brewery. We're just like a bit, because there's not many breweries in our area. But, and I'll say there's not many people in our area, but there's plenty of people who drink large amounts of beer. Farmers. So
that keeps you in a job. So
it keeps me in a job, and I'm happy with it. Yeah. Something beautiful. Oh, is Deeney on? Is Deeney on? Hope Troy Deeney's on. Oh, I'll have to watch it back. I didn't even see. Scotty Hogan scored. Happy days, Scotty Hogan. Hulk. My hobbies.
You said brewing and
brewing. Am I clean or messy? I can be awful. I'd say I'm improving. I'm improving to be more clean, but I'd say I'm probably quite messy. And yeah, shit's often everywhere. But I'm doing my best to improve things. But yeah.
Okay. Every family traditions.
What does the family do? So I don't know. Family traditions. Or Sunday roast has to be one. Always have a Sunday roast every single time we're up there. Have a Sunday roast. And I'm looking forward to my one next Sunday. I can have roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. Yes, please. That's my thing. Other than that, what do we do? We're all just kind of like.
So Sunday roast.
So I'd say Sunday roast. Sunday roast. That's got to be the family tradition. And also being a little for childhood memory. Yeah, it probably be like I was saying back to earlier. I couldn't remember the actual place, but it's Pontoon in Ireland. Where we had all the family together, and we were up in Pontoon. So Pontoon's it's near Tubbercurry, and we were all there. The whole family were there. There's loads of us. We were because my mum's one of five, big Irish family, and we were all there, and we were all the kids. I was like 8, 9, maybe 10, and we're all just making fires on the beaches, going swimming in the lake and stuff. It was just one of the most brilliant memories, and I don't want to go back there because I feel like I'd ruin it. But I just absolutely loved my time there. It was cracking.
Did you have a happy childhood?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, I definitely did. No, yeah. I feel for those who didn't, but yeah, I had a fucking wonderful childhood. Brilliant.
First time you were on a plane?
Very young. I can't even remember it. I was 6 months old, and we were going to Florida. It was for my other brothers and sisters. They have a different mum, and they basically were planning this trip. They were going off to Universal Studios and all around there. So it was when I was 6 months old. But then I've also I've got 2 brothers and a sister. So the youngest brother that's older than me is 10. He's 10 years older than me, Tiggs, and then there's CJ who's 12 years older, and then there's my sister Jo, who's 16 years older, or 15, 16 years older. Yeah,
good spread.
I'd say half full, definitely half full. You just live life to the best you can. Just be positive as much as you can as well. Do I collect anything? Beer glasses. I'm fucking terrible for it.
Are they borrowed or bought?
No, they're all bought. I've nabbed 1 or 2, but I'd say most are bought. In fact, one of my favourite glasses is actually a one that is nabbed, but I didn't nab it. Another YouTuber nabbed it. His name is. He is from Skelmersdale. So he is the blonde one. So yeah, that was one of my favourite glasses to use at the moment. It's 2/3 glass and a nice kind of pint style. But yeah, glassware. Yeah, I've got a glassware fetish. Everywhere I go, I pick up. I love to see the brewery glassware and buy it. And there's even I've bought glasses from America, which are just silly prices. $20 for a glass. I've got some. It's not this one here. It's over there. I've got a Chewbacca. It's this sort of shaped glass. This is a lost and grounded one. But I've got Chewbacca holding a gun on one side and Chewbacca with a keg up in the air on the other side. And I think I spent 18 quid on that glass to come over from the States. So yeah, I don't. And if I'm an introvert and extrovert, I'd definitely say I'm an introvert. I was hugely shy at school, but over time, especially when I've been traveling on my own, it just pulls you out of character. It puts you in really compromising, awkward situations, and then it just pulls you out of your skin. And then as a result, you kind of become more confident in awful situation, awkward situation. 2-0 Blues, get in there, my lad. Ante's predictions right. Happy days, we're going up, boys. But yeah, no, I think definitely an introvert, because there's still, I'd never kind of put my opinion on top of someone else's, ahead of someone else's, because it's not important.
Well, was it hard in starting the YouTube channel? You said you were kind of more of an introvert.
Yeah. It's very easy to be an introvert on YouTube. There's plenty of people who are introvert characters. Seaside Mark, look at him. Well, I don't know whether he's necessarily an introvert. There's plenty of people there, because I don't think I went into YouTube looking to be famous, or I definitely didn't go into YouTube looking to be famous. I went into YouTube trying to learn more about beer, trying to educate myself about beer, and I've done that, thankfully. But then also met some wonderful people as a result of it, like yourself, and then also, I think all the people who are in here in the chat, I know most of them. So yeah, I definitely say I'm a huge introvert, but probably a lot more confident than I was before, I'd say, and that's come through a lot of travel and going to weird places. For example, not taking a fucking visa with you when you're going into China and not speaking a word of Chinese, and I've had my passport taken away from me when I've been in Macau. That was one of the dodgiest situations I've been in. But yeah.
So how much traveling have you done then?
I haven't done much recently, funny enough. But so I've been to pretty much. So when I was young, we did pretty much every single country in Europe, because my dad, his business basically took him to. He did a lot of work in Germany, Netherlands, Bulgaria, more recently Greece, and then also Italy. Italy was the big place we went to loads of times, because he works in marine engineering, and as a result, Sicily was huge. So we used to go there all the time. And great times out there. I think things have changed a little bit in terms of how Sicily is managed and ruled, but we had some interesting times. Scotland, I've done most. I've explored like all of the. We chat about this at work. I've done the inner and the outer Hebrides. I love it. Absolutely love it. States, I haven't really done. I've been over to Hong Kong, done North Korea, one of my weird places where I've been to. Loved it. Can't wait to go back. But now my kind of next thing is that next year I want to drive to see Hugh. I was going to drive to Sweden to go and see James, go see Jim. But unfortunately, I think he's going to be in Japan when the time I was looking at going. So I'm going to drive to Poland instead. And that's going to be interesting. Yeah, driving in a foreign country is going to be very interesting.
Craziest thing you've done for love?
Bollywood dancing. That has to be one of them.
I like to for that one.
Yeah. If I had a warning label, drinks too much. Yeah, listens to awful music all the time, is too loud, and possibly drinks too much. Without talking about Goldrake, he's a cracking man. Unfortunately, he's not a man yet. He's just a boy. He's just a young boy. Oh man, he's a good laugh. Is Goldrake? He's a good laugh.
Oh yes, brilliant. Yeah. Does he have a channel, sir?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a channel. No, he's a Goldrake, or I've got it on Instagram as well. His Instagram's cracking.
You cried.
Yeah. What's the next one?
Last time you cried.
Last time I cried. Probably where my last relationship breakup. I'll be brutally honest. That would be it. And just because then you face like, oh, what the fuck do I do now? And that would probably be it. You said it. I know you said it. And you said it. You did say it. Bella. I was going on about Bella saying how good he was. I never thought Scotty Hogan would score, mate. But Scotty Hogan. David Prutton, you fucking dick. You're so wrong as well, David Prutton. 5 years from now, I hope to have my own brewery. For sure. Hope to have my own brewery. And hope to have, maybe moved on from this house, maybe move somewhere else, have somewhere possibly detached, which enables me to play my banging tunes louder. Most proud, and this is not a personal thing.
Yeah. Oh. His internet is gone again. Sorry. Yeah, I was trying to line up the next question. Harry's internet. Yeah.
And back. So I've got two things. So firstly, not a personal thing would be when Blues beat Arsenal in the Carling Cup. That was just it was just ridiculous to think that could have ever happened, and it did. And I've just complete pride for the city, pride for Blues, not the city because it's got a shithole club in Aston, but just complete pride then. But then personal pride would probably be going back to college. Actually, was when I there's been plenty of kind of like small kind of proud moments when I've been at work and stuff. But aside from that, probably be when I was at college. I actually got like a really decent grade, got an A* in fucking a literature-based subject. Being a dyslexic fucktard, that's just like a massive thing to have. And that was like, I was like, how the fuck has this happened? It was because it was like the third time I was sitting the exam. Obviously, the exam had changed a few times, but it was still literature. And I was like, I finally know how to do it. So, yeah, that would be a proud moment. Any regrets? Yeah. Any regrets would be, there's plenty. My first relationship. Fucking hell. That was a bad one. That'll be like fucking 3 years of regret. 4 years of regret even. So yeah, that was that. but at the same time, but at the same time, I learned plenty of lessons. So it swings and roundabouts. Yeah.
Okay.
The most challenged daily. So yeah, most challenged probably be when I was at university, and then this kind of ties in with the stress thing as well. Was my time management used to be absolutely shocking. It's improved a lot since I've been in the workplace, but time management was awful. And as a result, I used to force more pressure on myself to actually get a job done. So it would be when I was in my final year, I had to get a drawing package done, and I had like 2-3 weeks to get it done. And it was my own fault for procrastinating and making things harder for myself. So that was, university, final year. Don't underestimate it, anyone who thinks about going to university. Moment in my life where I've laughed the hardest. God, it's like banter every day at work. So, but I do think back to it was bad. I had a full on like laughing fit, and it was just because my mate was Sammy. He was a brewer for a short period of time. He's worked in brewing engineering and stuff, and I think he works computer science now. He's one of those people. He's been my best mate since I was like 7 years old. And we were out having a few beers in a Brewdog, actually, in Nottingham. And we had a few beers. We've been out all day. And he just has this laugh. He's got a normal laugh, and then after a few beers, it just changes. And he just goes into almost like hyperventilating. And it just becomes absolutely hilarious. And then there's also, I've got another mate who's like that, Dan, as well. And it's just ridiculous. But yeah, I think other than that, it has to be whenever my brother tells some really, really awful jokes, really, really awful jokes. So yeah, there's some good times. Complete your masters. Well, to be honest, I think I think
Yeah,
that's probably
56 is just, I don't know
that's
how you do
probably
it.
that's probably the best time to do it because that's when you know the most. And you're probably also the most focused. My brother Tiggs, he's at Cambridge, and he went to Cambridge. He was basically given like a scholarship to do his course, but he was also given a job there. So he runs all the gyms, but he was offered to do his psychology PhD there. And he went on like a little inaugural thing for his PhD, and he said like someone in their 40s, someone in their 60s, someone early 20s, and he said like the best person there was the person who was in their 60s who'd actually lived life and who could actually talk about things, who actually experienced situations and things. And so he said like I'm never actually going to do it until I'm older, until I've actually experienced more. And since then, he's just been running gyms. So I think when you're older is probably like the better time to do it, because then you've had more life experiences and you know more about the world. But what do you do, Vanessa, as well? I don't know what you did for your
She's a
degree.
maths teacher.
Maths teacher?
No, yeah, she's a veteran as well. Air
God.
Force, I think.
Oh yeah, no, veteran maths. Fucking hell. I got as far as A level learning about surds, and then I was speaking to someone who works in banking about a year ago now, maybe a year and a half ago, and she was like, "Yeah, you don't really need to learn about surds, but it's like more the kind of behind it, and as long as you've got that kind of technical knowledge and knowing how to do it." And I was like, yeah, but for surds, we're fucking. It's just a formula, but it's like also, what the fuck does this do? What does this formula do? That's the thing. I have to learn something and learn why it does something. What does it do? Not being told what it does. It's fucking useless. It's useless information for me. I can probably still recite the fucking formula that is used for surds. Dog or cat? Dog or cat? I've had dogs loads of the time, but I like cats because they just fucking look after themselves, and you don't have to like. You look back at dogs. What dogs used to be? It used to be wolves, and they could just handle themselves and look after themselves. And now you have to feed them all the time. Cats, brilliant. Just look after themselves. I had farm cats when I was growing up, and they're great. Used to feed themselves. Mice all the time. There was a time when one of our we had like a family friend who was supposed to be coming over to look after the pets, look after the cats and feed them and stuff. Completely forgot about it. They fed themselves. They survived. And they survived off like mice, and they killed the fucking fox. We had a fox, a couple of foxes, and they killed one. I'm like, okay, hell. And they ate that, of course. So cats. I like cats. They're cool. 23 years old. God, mine died at 10. 3 and 10. My cats died. One got run over when he got run over when he was very young, and then got run over again when he was 3. And then the other one, we don't know what was wrong with her, but she had some kind of brain sort of thing. But she died when she was 10, and we got dogs afterwards. But yeah. Best present I received probably be my car, because it's given me so much. Given me so much in life. Actually being able to explore places. I've taken that all around the UK. We've been all over the place. Been all doing Scotland, in London a few times. Travelled so much. I've done 102,000 miles in it, and that's every single mile I've done. Yeah, so that would have to be one.
Okay. When did you get that for? When you graduated school?
Yeah, so that was when I was. So it was before. So it was when I was 17. I think it was my 17th birthday. I got a car because Dad had done it for like he bought every other one of his kids like a brand new car as soon as they like 17. So he did it for me.
So yeah. Passed your driving test first time then?
Second time. So I did. I passed my theory first time going in blind because I just knew about cars and stuff for many other reasons. But then the first time I did my driving test, I passed with no minors apart from a major. And the major was I was going around something I didn't indicate to go around something. And I just kind of went meh, meh, and drove on the wrong side of the road for a bit. But then the second time, no minors, absolutely fine. So second time, but yeah. If I had to live in another time period.
Yeah.
It's just something I actually considered a lot when I was young. I'd probably say I'd want to be growing up. Not much more. Like, yeah, probably like I want to be born in something like the 70s, so I get to early 70s, so I get to experience the 80s a little bit. Yeah, then party in the 90s and have a cracking time, and then that'll be it, and then know that life is ended. So yes, I'll probably say like 70s, just to experience the 90s. That's the only reason why. And foreign language, I am very interested. I'm kind of learning at the moment Russian, so just because it would be very handy for what I want to do, where I want to go and stuff like that. I want to learn Russian, so yeah. I've tried Chinese or Mandarin, and no, too hard. So yeah, so Russian instead. First job was obviously brewer. Most famous person.
Did you not have a job before that though? Like you say.
Oh yeah. I've had a job as my first job I ever had was actually working in a corner shop. So I was just shop assistant at my local shop. But then that was actually paid, and I was paid £5 an hour at the age of 14, which was highly illegal. But it was old fashioned corner shop sort of thing. Old couple who ran it. Most famous person I've ever met. I've met Tiger Woods. That was about quite a few years, probably like 18 years ago, when he wasn't drink driving and crashing into things. So Tiger Woods. I didn't meet him, but Bill Gates was in our hotel. I met the whole Italian football team of 2004 or something like that, which was very special. They were in our hotel when we were in Sicily one time. Other than that, I grew up in an area which was full of Villa footballers. So Andy Gray, Paul Merson, Dwight York, Mark Bosnich. Mark Bosnich. He loved a good old snort. Sam Smalley's mate. But yeah, pick up a new skill. Being able to learn languages quicker, just because it's so hard. Someone I admire. And this would be purely as someone who is. Well, everyone's got some sort of thing about them that which isn't necessarily like it's kind of like a bad thing or like a negative thing. So, someone I admire in terms of getting themselves. I don't know. I'll come back to that one in a minute. But my earliest memory, I think I've covered that. What made me smile recently? All the fucking memes I read every day. Just like, if you want a good laugh. Follow on Instagram, follow Low Key Barrel Project, because he just shares memes every day. So yeah.
His teacher helping Chinese.
Okay. Wee bit of Mandarin. Yeah. Bloody hell. Yeah, when I was in so my mum lived in Hong Kong for like late 80s, early 90s. As a result, has friends out there. She used to work as a hostess for British Caledonian, a company which hasn't existed for a long time. So she used to work for them, and as a result, has loads of friends out there. So we and family members and stuff. So I've been out there a couple of times now, and obviously they speak Cantonese there. So I know one or two words in Cantonese, but you get so many mainlanders coming over there. I fear that Cantonese is going to be like a bit of a dead language. It's going to be like the Latin. It's going to be Latin in 50 years' time. The amount of people who are mainlanders moving over there. But yeah.
Okay. First, last book you read?
I try to avoid it. Try to avoid it if anything.
Okay,
I can't.
last manual you read.
That's my manual I've read. So plenty. I've plenty of manuals. I've read I've read a whole book on how to operate a certain labeling machine, probably. But I'd say actual book-wise, I've read a couple of. What's his name now? I forget his name. It's not my. Basically, there's a beer writer. Is it? I'm gonna see. Bad with names. It's Three Sheets to the Wind is the book. Let me find it. Pete Brown, I think it is. Pete Brown, yeah, Pete Brown. That's a cracking book, that was. I think it's one of his first ones. So I've really enjoyed that one. And I haven't completely finished it, but I'm nearly there. Greatest accomplishment, actually fucking getting the brewer's job. Well, the fact I'm actually head brewer now, so that's probably it. If I could get away with anything, if you could get away, yeah, anything. So, in what way is that question meant?
So, if you could rob a bank,
okay. I probably wouldn't rob a bank. That's because that costs the taxpayer more money. I wouldn't do that.
Well, you could rob the tax office then and all their money.
Well, one of my uncle's brother robbed a post office and got into loads of shit. So, what would I do? If I could get away with anything, it would be just deleting taxes. just removing all of my tax payments. Just removing everyone's tax payment. That would be it. Because that's just, it's just ridiculous. I like the way that Sweden works. The method that Sweden operates in the form of their taxes and any form of kind of like payments to the government. It's just taken as a whole. It's just taken as a lump sum rather than it's taken as a lump sum. Every single person pays pretty much the same amount rather than I pay some silly fucking council tax just because I live in a certain area. And my income is different to that person next door and different to that person, but I pay the fucking same thing. Why? Just make it a blanket affordable payment. So yeah, that would be it. Delete taxes.
Do you know the name of the person who lives beside you?
Yeah, I do. There's John that way, John and Deb that way, and there's John and Sam that way. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you walk to your nearest pub?
Yep. I can walk to all of my town's nearest pubs. There's 9 pubs in my town. There's soon to be another one. And I can walk to every single one of them within about 10-minute walk. So it's happy days.
Okay. Any of them decent?
No. In short, no. We don't have there's one or two I'd avoid, because they're just not one attracts a certain clientele and one's just not the greatest stuff inside of it. But then the one where I'd probably be most regular at would probably be the Wellington, but then second to that would probably be the Royal Oak. The Royal Oak's actually a Green King pub, but it's got football on. It's the beers. Sometimes they've got a good cask selection, and sometimes they have like something craft on. Very rarely do they, but sometimes they do. So yeah, that would probably be like second choice. Yeah.
What percentage of pubs then are kind of chain owned or privately owned?
I think all of them. I think one is only one out of the soon to be. Yeah, so one in nine is independent. So I'm trying to think of the pubs. We've got Fuller's pub, we've got an Arkle's pub, we've got a Wadworth's pub. In fact, we have 2 Wadworth's pubs, one Arkle's pub. We have a Green King. We've got a Star Pub, which is like Heineken. We've got an Independent. We've got the Con Club, which you can get into. So that's 8. And I think I'm missing one off, which would be my local down there, which is tied again. So yeah, there's one one independent, but at the same time,
would that be the general kind of going through the UK that most of them are tied to a chain? Most pubs.
But most towns you'll get one. I think most towns nowadays, you're lucky if you've got one. You're lucky, especially like around this sort of area. It's a bit of a desert. But I can go to the next town over and there's 3 craft beer bars. It's just weird like that. So if I go over to Devizes, there's 3 craft beer bars. Definitely 2 craft beer bars. Swindon, there's fucking loads. There's like 6, but Swindon's a bit of a dump at the same time. A lot of Swindon's a bit of a dump. But yeah, but where I am, it's tied. But then there's a lot of free houses in the countryside. But then it's just the free houses. But then the selection isn't necessarily that awesome. You're dying out for like a craft beer, but there isn't one.
Yeah, how do you think the COVID-19 has affected the brewers in the UK?
Huge, massive. It's been such a change. Small pack became massive, of course, going into small pack for so many breweries. So many breweries couldn't do small pack because it's hard to get your own bottling line. If you can get your own bottling line, it's easy enough to do a bottling line, but it's hard to do it well. And so we went from a position of doing a pallet a week, so that's 90 cases a week, to a pallet a day. So we went a pallet a week to a pallet a day, and I'd say nowadays we're still at that sort of amount. We're probably even more than that on certain beers. For example, I've just sent off for bottling. It's easier for me to comment on my brewery rather than others. But I've sent off Reese just this Monday morning it was Monday afternoon. I sent off about 15,000 litres of beer, and that's coming back next week, and then that will be gone in another 3 weeks' time, because in 3 weeks 3 weeks' time I'm sending off 60,000 litres of beer, and then some of that will see us through Christmas, but then we'll probably need one more bottling slot to see the rest through Christmas. So but we send all our stuff off in a tanker and it gets bottled elsewhere, so we're quite fortunate in that. But because we're like a large brewery, we'll just book up a bulk amount of bottling, whereas smaller breweries can't do that so much. But then I think massively everyone's just gone to small pack. We're seeing less variety in cask and keg.
Yeah.
Well, very, very few breweries nowadays do kind of cask. Everyone does keg. We don't do very much keg. We just do our lager on keg, but we do cask. It tends to be the big regional breweries that kind of stick to the cask, and a couple of local ones other than that. But yeah, it's what I love. Cask beer is like some of the best beers. I wish that more breweries would just develop into it a little bit more than what they do.
Yeah, well, cask is non-existent in Ireland.
Yeah.
It's surprising that you are still outsource your bottling. Like, would just not be better to have it in house for quality control?
If we had it in house, we'd have to have a much bigger amount of staff than what we do. We send it off. We know it's tried and tested. They got a great system, great kit, good people there. We never had any issues. It's easy just doing it. So I just pump it into a tanker. Tanker, the company we use, the guy we use, James, always has really good with us. Paperwork's easy to do. And then just pump it into his tanker, send it off down there. They bottle it, pasteurize it, all gets done nice. Yeah, it's good. Oh, people's accents. certain accents I'm good at. Like ever since moving down here, I can do like a Wiltshire accent very well, which is basically like, you know, we're all farmers around here, and you know, we're not quite like the Welsh. We don't shag our sheep, but you know, we're close enough to that. But yeah, I think Wiltshire accent I can do. I used to be very good at Northern Irish. I can't do it now at all. Can't at all, because I used to have a Northern Irish teacher, and at school, and as a result, it was very good. But I can't do it at all. Brummie, I tend to go more Black Country because I'm from North Birmingham originally, but we tended to kind of leak into So people's accents I can do, which is part of my humour as well. Mental health is don't know. We're chatting about this. We're chatting about this today at work. Is that at the moment there's so much of a focus on mental health and how well people are, and it's constantly in your face. How's your mental health? How's your mental health? I'm like, I'm fine, mate. I'm just how I am. Are you sure there's not something wrong? I'm like, I don't fucking know. It's almost normal if there's something wrong with you. So I'm just how I am day to day. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. Yeah, okay. I'm fine.
Favorite YouTuber? Last question.
Honestly, I have to answer it. That's fine.
YouTuber, by the way.
Oh, bitch. Oh, fuck. That was going to be easy then, and then it wasn't. Right. So this. So I'll probably say I'm going to do like kind of like a top kind of three, and then lead up to my actual favorite.
Okay.
So, and it's kind of a lot of appreciation for these different people as well, and the first person would have to be Stuart that I mentioned, Ginger Ale Trail, for just being a lovely chap. You know, introducing me to so many people within craft beer, within the beer reviewing community and stuff, and then and also people aside from that as well, good friends. He's just been just one of the best people I've met through it. Second person I'd probably say would be Rob Hopzine, because he is then kind of like, I love listening to his little words. He's just so brilliant at actually describing a beer, and you know, he just his knowledge for me early days was just fantastic to kind of listen to, and still nowadays his knowledge is pretty decent. It's just really good to listen to, but also it's just his knowledge of just things to kind of describe the flavorings and stuff like that. I mean, I may have a good palate, but I think I often find it hard to kind of completely kind of describe that flavor without going about different fruits and stuff. So I think he's brilliant at that, just saying, you know, random things that taste like that. I'm like, fucking hell, yeah, you're right, it does taste like that. But it's, you know, and it's not just the power of suggestion that is in place, but it's also like, oh damn, that's I'm tasting that. It's just perfect. But I'd say favorite kind of beer tuber of all time would probably be, for many reasons, would probably be Jim Rampant Lion, because his fucking dedication to his videos. He does. I think about it, I've got so many people I love. You know, there's Clueless Drinker. There are all the people I know within our community. Jake, Pint Sized, Craig as well, of course. You know, Adam, Mersey Beers, yourself, Paul. There's the massive extended community. But like, I genuinely love Jim's reviews in a similar way to another channel I watch, which is a whiskey review channel, Ralphie.com. The fact he has a whole story about the brewery, tells you every single detail about the brewery. No matter, you know, even if he's reviewed that beer from that brewery before, he will still tell the story about the brewery, and he won't get sidetracked like I do and talk shit for a fucking endless amount of time. But he will just talk about the beer and then be honest with his kind of like the taste that he gets on it. Everything's a solid 30-minute video. That's pure dedication. I love that. He deserves, when he had it last year, someone shared his thing on Instagram, on Reddit, and he gained like 8,000 subscribers as a result of it, because someone said, I fucking appreciate this guy because he just does 30-minute long reviews. He had like Jim Howard, like 2,000 or something, 3,000 maybe subs at the time, which is shit tons for a beer channel. Yeah. But then he like exploded after that. He went huge, and it was just because like he is so genuine, so honest with every single beer that he reviews and talks about it in detail. And
I don't know how he does it.
Really. Yeah, it's amazing. And then with his crappy internet, how he managed to get 2 uploads a day as well. Oh, man. Yeah, it's just brilliant. He's one of the best channels out there. I don't think other people's master of hoppets. I don't necessarily watch his stuff.
And yeah, Harry's internet is gone again. We're nearly finishing up here anyhow, so hopefully we'll come back and we can wrap this up maybe.
Yeah. I'm just saying, Master of Hop is another good one. I don't necessarily watch his stuff because I can't get his stuff, but there's a lot of the Canadian guys as well. I love how we're chatting to them as well. It's just amazing having an insight into different communities within beer. It's great.
Yeah. Even a few from Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, just listen to Sam. Just even in the comments, just chatting. It's great to listen to. Yeah.
Okay, last question. Go-to beer. If you had to go drink one beer for the rest of your life, what would you go to?
So I have 2 answers for that, unfortunately. But I will say the one that I'm kind of feeling at the moment. So that my original kind of go-to would have been Silly Rolling Man from Daya. And I've had pints and pints and pints and pints and pints of that beer because it's so delicious, so easy drinking. And it's got a nice level of fruitiness, sessionability, being only 5.4. I had a pint at the Tappy the weekend before last. Or was it last weekend? No, it was weekend before last. I had a pint at the Tappy, cracking. But I'd say for me nowadays, it has to be Lost and Grounded, the Hellers. When I get that on, when I see it on draft, I have it because it's just one of the greatest lagers I think that's available in the UK. It's not too far from me. It's only an hour down the road. Day is only an hour up the road anyway, but like Lost and Grounded is only an hour away. So it's relatively local beer. So I'm always supporting local breweries at the same time. And it's just, I think you can have a lager anytime. Sometimes you fancy a pale, sometimes you don't. So whenever I get home from work, especially after a brew day, and I've been, standing in a mash tun, which is like 60, 70 degrees inside of it, digging that out, sweating my arse off. I then want to come home, drink something nice and cold and easy drinking, but got plenty of flavour behind it. And I think for me, Lost and Grounded, the Hellers has to be that. But at the same time, love an Imperial Stout, but can't drink them all the time. But so it has to be Lost and Grounded Hellers. Just, I think if you think that Augustina Hellers, or Augustina Hellers, I think for me that is the closest Hellers style we have in the UK to Augustina. Which I also wouldn't say is my favourite German lager. My favourite German lager is probably the Eyinger one. I think they do the Eyinger Hellers, or Eyinger Hell, and that's gorgeous. But I'd say Lost and Grounded for me, definitely the Hellers.
Okay, that's brilliant. I think I've asked you a load of questions for 2 hours 20 or so.
That's time.
If people in the chat or people watching, link to Harry's channel if you've not subscribed, but I'm guessing most people here have subscribed. So go subscribe, go over and subscribe. Give him some thumbs down on his videos.
All thumbs down.
All thumbs down. And all the hate comments should go to him. Also, if you want to send him a dick pic, you always have the good.
Always up for dick pic. Be as abusive as you can as well to me. I need more abusive comments.
Yeah.
I thrive on them.
Okay. So I think we'll finish it here. I think Harry's going to do a live stream somewhere or be on a live stream after this somewhere.
Yes.
So you can find them somewhere in the beer tube community.
I'll be around.
And we'll say goodbye, everyone. And thanks for watching.
Thank you very much, Thomas.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.